Farmer Mertz.
What?
And he lived a long time ago before people had cars.
We got
And so what he did for a living, he used to rent horses to people that wanted to travel somewhere and didn't have a horse. Yeah, it was called a livery stable. A livery stable is a place where before they had car rentals, they had horse and wagon rentals.
How much money did it cost?
I don't know, but probably maybe $1 a day, which would have been a lot of money back then, to rent a horse and a wagon.
If the horse got injured, would you have to buy it like with the car?
You probably had to have horse insurance to rent a horse from him. So Farmer Mertz, he had a bunch of horses and a bunch of carriages, and people would come and they'd say, "Could I borrow a horse and carriage for the day?" And he would say, "Yeah, but you better take good care of them." He was kind of a grumpy old guy, and he used to be drinking beer and stuff all day long. Yeah, he was kind of a bad old guy, but he was a kind old guy, and he loved his horses. "You better take care of my horse, or I'm gonna get you when you come back. You're gonna pay big time if you injure my horse." So then he would rent them the horse and the carriage, and then if they wanted to go like to a different town, it would take them all day, and they would come back late at night, and the horse would be all sweated up and tired.
Horses can sweat?
Oh yeah, they get all wet. Their fur gets all sticky and wet and yucky. And they would come back really late at night, and Farmer Mertz would say, "You didn't take good care of my horse. Now you better brush that horse down and give him a bath before you leave." And if the person didn't do it, he would say, "All right, that'll be another $1." And the person would get really mad and say, "That's a lot of money. I worked all week for $1."
Pigs don't sweat.
But then they would pay it anyway.
That's why they roll around the mud. They roll around the mud to cool off.
And so Farmer Mertz would go on like that day after day and year after year and week after week.
How long?
Well, a long time.
Every single time he said they didn't take care of it?
Well, some people were nice to the horses and then he would be okay with them. But the ones that didn't take care of their horse, he would get really, really, really mad.
You know this is your great-great-grandfather? How many greats?
Abby, what
Then-
is this real?
Yeah.
What's this? I thought it was all made up and there wasn't actually people that rent out horses.
Yeah, it's for real.
And it's your great-great-grandfather?
Yeah, well, it's in my...
Fools.
Rip your legs. No, it's serious. It's called a livery stable. That's how people used to
There you go.
rent
Sit up.
stuff before they had cars to rent. And those days, the people that lived in town
Uncle Charlie.
usually didn't have a horse because it wasn't easy to keep
that's
a
good
horse in
accent,
town,
huh?
right?
Yeah.
So
You're
then
flopping. All right.
Farmer Mertz had,
Head
let
up.
me think, he had
Head up.
5 brothers.
Oh.
And all of his brothers were businessmen too. And they all had businesses that involved horses because there were no cars, right?
Have you sisters?
Yeah, because I've
Yeah,
been
they had a
wrestling
bunch
for
of
3 hours.
sisters too.
Oh, you
But now we're talking about the horse business, right? The sisters were not in the horse business. Yeah. So anyway, the brothers were they were delivery men. So they had like maybe 4 or 5
You want
horses,
to wrestle some more?
and they would have them all hitched to a big wagon.
I said.
And they would take their horses and they would load up the wagons with all kinds of goods and deliver them from one place to another, like big trucks do these days. But one day one of his brothers came to him and
Let's go
said,
upstairs. The longest.
"Farmer Mertz,
This way.
did you notice business isn't so good lately?" And Farmer Mertz said, "Yeah, those darn people aren't renting my horses too much anymore. I'm having trouble making enough money to pay the bills." Hmm?
That's me.
Well, here's the story. And the brother said, "The reason they're not renting your horse, it's those newfangled self-driving machines.
School, you need to go to your
You don't need a horse to pull them."
school email.
I said, "What?" He said, "There's something called automobiles. They put a motor in a wagon and they don't need a horse to pull it."
That's sad.
Yeah, and Farmer Mertz said,
Riello, we're playing Uno.
"Well," he said, "I think
Oh
that's
no,
just
Uncle
a
Charlie's
passing
gonna destroy
fad."
us.
He said, "That's not a practical way to get around. We'll always need horses, so I'm going to stay in this business." And the brother said, "No, no, no, no. it's soon they're not going to need horses at all. The cars are all all the wagons are going to go all by themselves with the motor. And the brothers said, what we're going to do, and this is going to save you, our brother. This is going to keep you in business. There's some people that make those newfangled motorized wagons. It just means like, that's just an expression to mean it's like something new. Newfangled machines, he said. What we're going to do, we're going to start selling those machines and we'll get rich because everybody's going to want them pretty soon. And Farmer Mert said, ha, they're stupid, they're not going to last, they're just a silly machine. Besides, I love horses way too much to ever give them up, so I'm staying in the horse business. And the brother said, but we're going to go ahead and start selling those motorized wagons, so if you want to join us, we'll give you a position in the company. Farmer Mert said, no way. But then, pretty soon, people stopped coming to rent wagons. Just once in a while they would come. Very few people, less and less every day, and he wasn't making hardly any money anymore. Yeah, it was sad, but he didn't give up. He said, well, I have a new idea. All those silly people that are buying those motorized wagons and giving up their buggies and their wagons, guess what? You could buy those things for 50 cents a piece. He said, I'm going to buy up hundreds of them. And then, when the newfangled motorized wagons, when people stop messing around with them, they're all going to come back to me and they're going to buy their wagons and buggies back. So he bought a whole bunch of them. He had them all lined up by his shop. But nobody came to buy them, and pretty soon nobody was coming to rent them anymore. So he got pretty sad. But he said, there's no way I'm going to give up my horses. I'm going to go buy me a little farm, and these horses are going to plow the land, and they're going to harrow and harvest and do all the work for me. To heck with those people that don't rent my wagons and horses anymore. So he bought himself a little farm. He moved out into the country, and he was just as happy as could be. He would be out there driving his horses all day long, plowing the land, raising all kinds of crops and selling them to the people. And meanwhile, his brothers were getting all these fancy motorized wagons and selling them to everybody, and pretty soon they would be going up and down the road, zoom, zoom, back and forth in front of his farm every day. But Farmer Mert just didn't even care. He just went on farming with his horses, and he was just as happy as could be. And then he had a kid named Millard, and his kid named Millard turned out to love horses just as much as Farmer Mert. So his kid Millard would follow him around every day and learn everything about the horses and stuff. And then he started helping Farmer Mert with all his farming with the horses. And he learned how to drive a horse and a plow when he was only like 7 or 8 years old. And then he asked Farmer Mert if it's okay to ride the horses. And then one day, young Millard jumped on a horse, and the horse took off galloping so fast, and Millard got scared at first because he didn't know how to control the horse. And he started yelling, "Help, help, Dad, help!" And his dad said, "Just hang on, son." So Millard Mert just hung on to the saddle really tight, and pretty soon he was having so much fun he felt the wind blowing through his hair, and he felt like he was floating above the ground so fast. And he started yelling, "Yahoo! Yahoo!" And from then on, he loved horses so much, just like Farmer Mert. And so he spent all his boyhood helping Farmer Mert doing all the heavy farming work and stuff with the horses, and he didn't mind the work one bit. He would brush the horses every day, clean the stalls, help his father with the plowing and harrowing and everything, just for the pleasure of, at the end of the day, jumping on his favorite pony and taking off like a shot, galloping across the field.
That sounds. Wait, what was the pony's name?
Queenie. He had a beautiful spotted black and white pony named Queenie. She was very beautiful. She had long hair like this. It would be blowing in the wind when they were galloping along. It was so smooth. Lump, 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 and the hair was